On one of his radio shows, Jerry Jones heaped praise on Dak Prescott, calling Dak the, and I quote, best leader I've ever seen at that position. Say what? Richard, what do you make
Dak's
of what
a good
Jerry
guy.
said?
He may not be the greatest football player
Jerry
ever, but
must
he's
have
a good
closed
guy.
his eyes when them boys came into town, like Tom Brady, A-Rod, Peyton. Like, he must have totally just closed his eyes, because I love Dak. Dak, Rain Dakota Prescott is a great human being, a great football player, but the best leader ever seen. I mean, Jerry, you've been around this game a long time and saw a lot of people come through and come and go, and he's just, at this point, trying to raise his quarterback up and instill confidence.
He did specify
and I respect
best
that, but
leader he's seen at
come on now.
QB.
Yeah, it's different because Jerry's being Jerry in this situation. Richard talked about some of the great quarterbacks that ever played the game. Maybe, and I'm just trying to think without assuming, maybe he's saying because they're working with such lack of leadership within the team or on the offensive side of the ball that Dak Prescott has gotten his guys to do certain things to raise a certain level.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's talking about. I'm trying to open up a door so that Jerry can walk through it.
Well.
Because if he's just talking about pure leadership at the quarterback position, Roger Staubach did play for the Cowboys, and Jerry did watch from Arkansas. So I don't know how you could say that. Then on top of that, there is a guy named Troy Aikman that won 3 Super Bowls for your team that was there. Whether the team was led by the playmaker Michael Irvin or not, Troy had some input as leadership at the quarterback position. Then you could go on to Steve Young and Joe Montana and Tom Brady, So I don't really, I'm trying to really understand the context of where Jerry is coming
Could be
from
early signs of
with
Alzheimer's
this.
for Jerry.
I mean, Jerry just like I do.
He just
you probably
forgets
can,
about Troy Aikman.
I don't know, dive into his brain a little bit deeper to understand what he's doing outside of propping him up.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers has been speaking the word manifestation. I believe in manifestation, says Aaron. So does Jerry, as in, I'm going to speak this into existence.
Okay.
I do know Cowboy history and Cowboy lore. The greatest quarterback in the history of this franchise was the guy you brought up, Roger Staubach. I know him very well. I watched him very closely, and he is one of the greatest leaders in the history of sports. I was around Troy Aikman a whole lot. He was more of a quiet leader. He rubbed people the wrong way in a good way. He was difficult because he was so demanding. But in his own way, he was a powerful leader, even though I thought in the end, Michael Irvin was the biggest leader on that dynastic 90s team. For Jerry to say this is so offensive to longtime Cowboy fans because they're like, what are you talking about? Well, what did Jerry tell me once upon a time early in Troy's career when Troy and Jimmy were a little bit at odds? I will ride Troy Aikman's coattails as far as I can because Jerry understands it's a quarterback's game. You have to have this guy feeling as good about himself as he can feel for you to go places and win Super Bowls. Jerry knows full well that the glaring weakness in Dak Prescott is actually his leadership. No, let me finish. Okay. His leadership. This is the biggest problem because Dak can't take over the locker room because he's too wildly inconsistent for the Keyshaws in the locker room to trust him. He fails so miserably in such big moments on a regular basis as you ride the roller coaster with him that the team can't really trust him. He was so threatened last year by the rise of Micah Parsons, who is becoming the leader of this team on the defensive side in a way that Ray Lewis or Derek Brooks could be leaders of Super Bowl teams on the other side of the ball. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so Jerry is trying to prop up Dak's leadership because he knows that right now is an Achilles heel for Dak.
How does that going to help Dak change if you're saying everything you're saying if Dak doesn't even believe in what Jerry is saying? How is that going to help Dak? Because if I know you questioning my leadership in the locker room, despite what the owner's saying, I'm going to feel a certain way anyway.
Yeah, but he's hoping that the public perception rises. Go ahead, Richard.
No, I mean, you lying. Look, that's one of them situations you're gonna lie. It's sometimes situations you fake it till you make it. But I just want us to record what Skip just said because I need that later on because everything he just said is gonna be necessary going forward. I'm gonna need to hear that again. I'm gonna need to see that clip again.
All right.
But I mean, at this point, you can't fake it. Like NFL, you cannot hide it. You cannot fake it. You cannot manifest something. You can manifest it when you haven't seen it. When you haven't seen it and you're like, hey, this is your first year, you're a rookie. Hey, you're going to be the best in the world. You're going to be the best in the world. You're going to be the best in the world. But at this point, he's been in the league a long time. He is who he is, for better or for worse.
That's
and
true.
Jerry knows that. So at this point, if you just now starting to think, hey, maybe I should prop my quarterback up. Maybe I should speak about his leadership in a positive way. You're too little, too late, Jerry. Like, maybe you should have done this years ago.
But he didn't speak in a positive way. He went completely over the top. Greatest leader I've ever seen at that position. Again, it's Jerry being Jerry, going
He's seen
completely
50 quarterbacks
unhinged, over the edge, over the cliff.
But Jerry doesn't believe that, and
He doesn't
does
believe
the
it.
quarterback
He
at
doesn't
Dak
believe it.
Prescott.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Getting back to what
Salas
you're
and
talking about,
Zach Wilson.
I understand you're a Cowboy fan.
Full confidence in Zach Wilson.
And through and through. I get it. But Skip, you sit up here and you act like
Very doubtful.
that Dak Prescott is just chopped liver.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
No, I've told you
He's
he's
not chopped
pretty
liver, but he's
good.
definitely not the best
But I think
quarterback
you
leader that Jerry has ever seen.
Okay, but you have said.
With Mike McCarthy
Hey,
at the
how do you look at Dak Prescott? You think he's pretty
He's
good?
a top 10 quarterback, not
Edge
top
of,
5.
edge
Top
not
10,
top
but he's like
5,
right.
10
6,
and
7, 8, 9, depending on who you're talking
Maybe
to.
11, 12, depending on the day.
6?
That's not
Seriously.
Okay, so
Okay.
you talk about the 15 interceptions that he threw last year. I discount them.
Yeah.
Regardless, I just do. Because I know
I don't.
there's mistakes that are made on both sides from the receiver standpoint and Dak Prescott standpoint. I know you point to the San Francisco 49er playoff game versus the Tampa Bay game when he looked like he was on his way to Canton.
did.
And then the next thing he looked like he was on his way to working with us.
But
I understand
we
that.
did that all year long.
But
We
that-
went up and down.
You couldn't have
up
done
and
it all
down.
year long because he wasn't there all year long.
Okay, but he missed 5 games and threw 15 picks that led the
But
league.
it was, again, it was going to be discounted.
And by the way, Chris Collinsworth said the other night on Sunday Night Football, I put him in, I watched all 15 interceptions. Almost all of them were Dak's fault.
I can't listen to Chris Collinsworth about something that I know about.
Okay,
I'm sorry
well,
to
I
say
think
it.
Chris
I'm
was
sorry.
pretty good.
No, I understand that.
He was real good.
When you have your own opinions based on what you see versus what I see or Sherm sees, our opinions are going to differ.
Okay.
Right? And so the only thing that I'm saying in this situation is let's not start acting like
It's sort of hard to
before those
differ
15
opinions if you can literally
interceptions,
see what's
this dude
happening.
wasn't good, man.
No,
That's one year
I mean,
he had a
I'm
bad
not-
You can only
stretch.
disagree
One
so
year he
much
had a
on
bad stretch.
factual evidence.
1 year,
I'm not going to let them say that either.
2
I
and
mean,
4 in
one
the
year, it
postseason.
don't define anything. You gotta have a lot of stuff going. You got a lot of stuff going on. But like you said, he's a top 10
Yeah, it does seem like an
quarterback, and
aberration,
Any given
though.
day,
It doesn't seem like this
he could be 6. You know, he can go off.
Like,
but
Dak
he can be
never had a
6.
year
can
where he
go
was
off
throwing
at
that
any
many
time.
interceptions
And
and
he's a
then
really
throws
good
them
player. I'm sure the Jets would take him
at
right
that
now.
rate for 1
and be
year. I
like,
mean, you can't
hey,
say
we
that's
feel like we
what he's
still are
always
Super Bowl
been.
contenders. They would take him. They would take him, and they'd be a better team. But I just feel like, I don't know, Skip. I'm with Keith on this. You are really critical of this dude. Like, he is, like, you can't do worse than him. You can do a lot worse.
You guys have not lived in this chair in my shoes
That's
for
your
as long
fault,
as I
though.
have. No.
This is your fault.
You haven't watched close enough.
No,
You haven't
it's
lived
your
and died.
fault. It's your
Time
fault.
out. Time out.
It's your fault.
I was his biggest fan. He was a 4th-round pick. He came straight out of heaven and fell into
Yes.
our laps.
Yes.
In a game out here at the Coliseum, a preseason game against the Rams. He lit it up, and I said, that kid can play.
Yes.
But if you go back, check my history. I'm all over this. I'm ahead of every curve. I was all over Dak Prescott when he was at Mississippi State on First Take, my old show. I used to rave about him because he lifted them up to #1 in the nation.
I know.
And I became his biggest fan. I'm trumpeting Dak Prescott, Rain Dakota Prescott, as they go to Tuscaloosa. Go look at what happened at Tuscaloosa. I know it happens to a lot of people, though it didn't happen to Texas the other night, did it? Because some teams go in there and have their way. Johnny Manziel had his way at Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
Dakota Prescott got rained on at Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
He came all apart. Okay, so here's my point. He
Nick
fell.
Saban make a lot of people come apart.
Thank you, because he's ain't Nick on defense. He's not the guru master that a lot of people call Saint Nick. Okay, so the point was Dak fell to the 4th round for a reason, because they look at the tape. He was a mistake maker at Mississippi State.
That's not why he
4th
fell
round.
to the
Yes, it
I don't know.
was.
No, it was
Yes, it
not.
was. What are you talking about?
Skip, he was a 4th round pick is because, one, Mississippi's offense did not give Mississippi State offense didn't give the scouts nor the general manager of the pro football enough to understand that he would have a pro-style look. It has since changed since Dak got into the league. That's why you see very similar quarterbacks.